Hi everyone, my name is Audrey and welcome to my channel. Today I'm giving you my September wrap up.
Like a flower that is losing its petals, I saw people losing their head. There are too many levels, and nobody to tell you what's next. She took her time to handle the ache, just like taking a swan dive in a blue lake. How far we go if we have to fight the unknown? How far we go if we have to fight the unknown? Like a tower that is losing its balance, everything is falling apart. Is it too much to handle? Is there a way to restart? She took her time to handle the ache, just like taking a swan dive in a blue lake. How far we go if we have to fight the unknown? How far we go if we have to fight the unknown?
So for September, I had a huge TBR. I had lots of book I wanted to read. I was very motivated, but it was not a good month for me at all, mentally and emotionally and all that stuff. It was not great. Yeah, I was struggling. I still am a bit, and I'm trying to get on track of that because I do want to get more reading done and get through more books, but I'm kind of struggling with getting everything done in every aspect of my life right now, which is very hard to do with school, with my son's homeworks, and like he's trying to read and he has a speech disorder, so it's really not easy. And I have a lot of things that I need to take care of and to deal with, and it's just a lot. And I'm going to start some classes soon. So, like, how am I going to manage all of that? I don't know. But I'm motivated. I guess that counts for something. Anyways, so I read in September 3 of those books. A tiny bit disappointed. 3 is not enough for me to actually get to my goal of reading one book a week, and definitely not enough to catch up on the books I'm behind for my Goodreads challenge. But October should be better. We'll see. Let's get into what I've read for September. For September, the buzzword for the Buzzwordathon was dark or light, and for that prompt, I wanted to read The Darkening or Shadow and Bone, but I didn't get to either of those books, unfortunately, and I'll be getting to them in October. So the first book I read in September is Crown of Thunder by Tochi Onyebuchi. This is the second book in the Beast Made of Night duology. So second book, I've been trying to read this one for a couple of months now, and I've succeeded. I think I enjoyed this one better than the first one. I felt like it was a little bit less cliche, not that much. I really enjoyed the first one. This one a little bit better. I don't know. I feel like stories like these, I feel like I can predict what is going to happen in the first books, and then the second books kind of surprise me because they're different than what we typically see in these type of stories, or I don't know. But just because of that, I enjoyed this one a tiny bit better. But what I had issues with for the first book, I did still have these issues with the second book. It was pretty similar in terms of plot and where the characters were going. Sometimes it felt like there was a fight scene for the sake of having a fight scene and wanting the character to be badly injured for the plot to continue, if that makes sense. And it kind of annoyed me. I didn't like that. But other than that, it was fun. And I had a good time. And I gave this one another 4 stars, which is, I think, the same rating I gave Beast Made of Night. I'm really glad I finally got to finish this duology. The next book I finished is Lucky Girl, or How I Became a Horror Writer, a Krampus Story by M. Rickert. So this is an e-arc that I got from NetGalley, and I was a little bit surprised because because the publishing date was kind of close to when I got my request approved for this book. But it was a novella. It was a short one, which I really do enjoy, especially in horror. I've been enjoying a lot of like very small stories and short stories and small books. So I didn't know what a Krampus story was. I've been told what it was on one of my live sprints. I was not expecting like a evil type of Santa Claus, but I really did enjoy this one. I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's about this group of friends that are, well, not really friends, more acquaintances, that they got together. They had one thing in common, this cafe, and it was closing, so they decided to just get together and do like a Christmas thing, which they've done a couple of times, and they lost touch throughout the years. And our main character is a horror author, and then you follow them throughout the years, and things happen with an evil Santa, which is very interesting. It was creepy. It was fun. I really enjoyed the story. So if it's something that seems interesting to you, I would strongly recommend that one. Perfect in time for October. I gave this book 5 stars out of 5. And finally, the last book I read for September was In the Coils of the Labyrinth by David Annandale. And this is a book from the Arcane Horror series. And I believe it's the book number 17 in the whole series. and I didn't do my research before getting into it. It's another arc from the galley that I requested without like looking further into it because it just seemed interesting. But yeah, it's based off a board game, which is kind of, I want to say like an escape room, but more like a mystery type of thing. So you do a story once and you can't do it again. There's a whole bunch of stories available that you can play, and there's a lot of characters, and from what I've seen, it goes on for quite a long time before you can actually solve the mysteries and all that stuff. So it seemed really interesting. It's set in the 1920s, and it's like a creepy city in which paranormal activities occurs and stuff like that, which was perfect for Halloween time. You don't need to read the other books to actually get into this one, even if it's number 17, because they are all pretty much written by different authors. I do know that there are some arcs that have like number 1, 2, 3 throughout the whole series. But other than that, you can read them in whatever order you wish, which is quite interesting to me as a concept. So for this one, we're following Professor Miranda Ventham, and she gets diagnosed with tuberculosis. So she needs to get treatment, and she has like 2 options, and she chooses one institute, which is the Stroud Institute, and they have unconventional ways of treating that disease, and they do have a high rate of success. So she chooses to go there, but things are actually really, really weird. People are weird, and she tries to investigate and see like what's going on and try to understand what's happening. And with her friend Agatha Crane, she does try to investigate like about the founder of the institute, and the building itself is kind of weird. Things are off and she senses it, and other people don't really sense it and they're not very sensitive to that stuff. But our professor is very sensitive to that, and she feels like something's wrong and off. And with her friend, she investigates all of that and tries to solve the mystery and help save all of these people because they are in danger. It is a creepy story. I wouldn't say it's not a horror book, but it's not a horror as much as like intense horror, if that makes sense. I would classify it as a light horror type of book, but it doesn't get to that point until until halfway through. So I wouldn't expect it to be like a full-on 400 pages of full horror. That's not quite it. The first half is really setting up the characters and the mood and the vibe in like the city and where they're at, the building, the institute, all of that stuff. And then around the halfway point, now like more creepy stuff happens and more paranormal stuff happens, and it goes on from there. And it gets actually quite creepy. I wasn't personally scared by it, so if you're looking to be scared, I wouldn't pick up that book, but I do still believe this book is worth it. I love the characters. I loved like the journey they went on, and at one point her friend Agatha actually went on a journey to try and find out more about what's happening, and it actually really worked very well for the story, and like how it was all written together. I think it was really well done. And yeah, the story was interesting. The ambience, the universe was really fun as well. And it got me actually excited to pick up more books of the series eventually. So I do recommend this one. Just be careful with what you're expecting. What are you expecting of this book before you get into it? But I still think it's worth the read. And I gave this book 4.5 stars out of 5. So that's it. That's all I read for September. Yeah. Next month should be better, hopefully. I'm in the middle of a couple of books as well, but as of right now, I did try to finish some more books for September, but I didn't manage to do that. So those other books, I'll be talking about them in my October TBR and wrap up. And that that will be all for me today. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you are interested in them. What do you think about them? Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye!